Welcome to BAYFOCUS. I'm so glad you tuned in this week. Once again, as we do each week, we try to show you ministries and organizations here in Central Florida that are really doing the community work, that are getting out there and doing a lot for the community. And we are so honored today to be highlighting and celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Pinellas Hope, a residential full-service facility really started by Catholic Charities through the Diocese of St. Petersburg. And wow, wait till you stay tuned and hear everything that they're doing. And then we also are going to have a bit of a missions feel to the show today, because also here on BAYFOCUS we highlight people that are going out around the world and doing things to help people around the world. And Barrett is back with Threads of Hope and the work he does in Kenya, and he went to Cuba recently on a water purification project. You want to see some of the video he brought back from Cuba. I know we're all interested to see what's happening over there, but we're going to start today talking about Pinellas Hope, and we have with us the Executive Director of Catholic Charities of the Diocese of St. Petersburg, Mark Dufva. Thank you so much for coming on the program today. And I just have to congratulate Catholic Charities and Pinellas Hope on 10 years of really giving hope to the homeless in Pinellas County, which of course just is your name. But for those of our viewers that may not even be familiar with Pinellas Hope, exactly what you do, explain what Pinellas Hope is.
Pinellas Hope is about trying to solve our continuing challenge of homelessness, especially in Florida and especially in Pinellas County.
Yeah. It's
a calling by the grace of God to do the ministries of mercy. And serving the homeless is the primary reason that we were created to begin with, why we have to organize ourselves with many partners in the community to help work on this homeless problem right here in our own community. And it's been 10 years. Yeah,
and you're on a tract of land. You explain the facility, and we're going to see a little bit of that in just a moment. But it's a combination of you have actual housing, buildings, and tents. And what is the program? What happens there?
Excellent summary. It's a combination of the solution to homelessness, which is permanent supported housing. There are 156 efficiency apartments, of which more than 40 of them are set aside for homeless veterans. And in addition to the apartments, which we are about 200 people, we have more than 250 beds for the homeless. So it's a shelter. We call it a campus of both those who are homeless and come into a shelter and need a place instead of living underneath the bridge, instead of living in the woods, sleeping in a car. They need a solution. So it's a shelter, and then we move them into the apartments so that they have a permanent place to live.
So you're really, what you're trying to do, which is the immediate issue, is shelter. Find a place to live, a roof over their head, or tents or whatever, where they get off the streets. That's like where you start.
Right.
And then you take them through a variety of things. You have a number of services. If you want to go ahead and share with us some of the services you provide specifically.
Well, a lot of services we provide are done by us specifically, mostly from a case management perspective, where we build a relationship with the individual. And then you realize that individual is struggling with so many crises in their life. Not just a financial crisis, because that's what causes, could be any one of us at any moment of any time, to all of a sudden lose your house, lose your rent, not be having a place to live. More importantly, there are so many chronic problems. A lot of them are substance abuse, a lot of them are mental health issues, and we rely on partners to come together to help us serve these folks and address those chronic problems. Because just to assume that a homeless person can get a job, and that's their solution, without addressing their victims of domestic violence, they've been human trafficked, they've just been through so many chronic things. We must serve them and take care of all their services.
Yeah, so you're trying to get down to some of the root causes.
Root causes.
And get them into self-sufficiency.
Yeah.
You do, and you also do some of the basics with food, clothing, housing, but you're also helping with adult education as well, right?
Yeah. So those who get their chronic problems addressed, the first question is, can you get a job? and how can we help you get employed? And you realize that many of them need support services to help with their employment training. So we have great partners, Pinellas County School District, Goodwill Industries, together good partners help us come and we address their work readiness skills training. So we provide, in this partnership, a lot of training programs. We work with different businesses to help employ them. Obviously, the biggest industry in our area is hospitality. Yeah. Restaurant industry, there's where the gap in trying to fill those vacancies in those jobs. We can be one of the best places for people to come and hire this population who get ready and are ready to go to work.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. It's just like you are really trying to cover the whole gamut of what they need. All right, you mentioned something, and I think this is always something that all of us just is a little bit tough to see, but you deal with veterans.
Yes.
Explain to us, I mean, just paint us a picture of this. Who walks through the doors? We hear this so much that veterans, so many veterans end up homeless, maybe untreated issues or whatever. Give us an example of what you've dealt with there.
I wish I had some of the veterans sitting here right next to me. Yeah. They could tell you their story personally. One of them, who I learned, is a World War II veteran.
Wow.
He is 89, soon to be 90 years old, living homeless for 10 years. He now has an apartment, and he tells his story, and it's an amazing story of, again, addressing those chronic family life issues that he simply did not have anyone who was willing to work with him completely and address and partner him with the VA, because as you know, if you're a veteran, you must have access to the veteran services. And so but you need someone to help maneuver often complex systems. Yeah. And so getting veterans is our key priority. And there's no reason why any veteran should ever be homeless.
Right.
And there are so many stories that I could share with you that getting them an apartment through the VA system is the way to go.
Yeah, yeah, that's just you coming alongside and helping them access the services that are provided. Okay, you have something, and set this up for us, because we're going to go to a video. You've had a new thing that's been added, a medical respite program. Explain what that is, and then we'll show you if it's special, and tell us this special award is too.
Yeah, I was mentioning many of our partners, and some of the partners are Directions for Living, PEMS, WestCare, but I also want to emphasize BayCare and St. Anthony's Hospital. So back in 2009, after Pinellas Hope was created, we realized that the other chronic condition is health care. So mental health and integrated health are key issues. So BayCare stepped up and we provided a 10-bed facility, and I'll talk about facilities here in a minute, because we go from tents to Hope Cottages. And I really want to make sure that we talk about Hope Cottages. You'll see that in the video.
Yeah.
And they'll take a flight over those Hope Cottages. Those are shipping containers converted into micropod housing with an air conditioning unit, so that BayCare provides the health care to those individuals being released from a hospital emergency room. They've been treated, they've either been living in the hospital, they're released, and the hospitals don't want to release them back to the street.
Yeah.
They don't need a street to go back to, they need a place.
Yeah.
We do home health care services to them so that they stabilize their health care, and that's a great partnership with BayCare.
I love it, and we're going to see, there's a particular community service award that we're going to see about this right now. And while we're talking about, let's take a look at just what he's talking about, this whole medical respite program, and this, I believe it was a particular community service award. You're going to hear about it. Let's take a look.
Community benefit achievement, over 150 beds. BayCare Medical Respite Program at Pinellas Hope.
Pinellas Hope is more than a shelter. It's really a place of transition where people can come, they can recoup, they can find their way back into society again. When we talk about the community, we care for our people before they come into the hospital and after they leave. I believe humanity at work is seen here at Pinellas Hope. It's more than words. It really is caring for humanity. And that part of humanity that many people ignore is the humanity that we have to care for. Quality, compassionate care that we must give to everyone, and is done here and is seen here and is lived out at Pinellas Hope and in our medical respite. That's why it's Pinellas Hope. It gives hope to those people who have maybe lost some of it And it's our way of caring for all of humanity.
Wow, I have to tell you, that's impressive. Not only the award, but just our viewers got to see the facility. Okay, give us some of the results of that, and then how can our viewers help you?
Yeah, I mean, what we want is a return on investment in this effort, and the return on investment is measured by certain outcomes. And some of the outcomes that we have, 35%, the latest number, of everybody who came unemployed obtained a job. About another 40% of those actually saw an increase in earned income as a result of them participating. And in this particular case, we want to save the taxpayer money from emergency room visits. So, you know, the more emergency room visits costs the system at Baycare or any hospital tremendous amounts. So the more we can take care of those health outcomes, the better we are. And the way people can help, first and foremost, we want to eat healthy. So we have more than 40 churches, and these are all kinds of different churches from all different faiths who come and serve dinner at Pinellas Hope every night. 365 dinners a night we need, 365 lunches we need a year, 365 breakfasts we can help. So if any church wants to volunteer, develop a relationship with somebody who's homeless, understand the complexity of homelessness, come to Pinellas Hope. And that way you can give back. You can follow that Matthew 25 gospel mandate. Whatever you did for the least of these, you did for me. That's what Jesus said.
That's right.
That's what we're called to do. So at Pinellas Hope, everybody can do the works of Jesus right there alongside.
Well, yeah, that's such a huge need and so rewarding. So that your viewers just heard, this is how you can help. And I know you would also take if somebody wants to do a charitable donation and, you know, along that line like mentioned. We have just a couple minutes left too, but I want to paint a picture just in a few minutes of the Catholic Diocese as well. Of St. Petersburg. Catholic Charities that you oversee.
Right.
You guys do a lot. This is one thing.
That's one thing.
And just give our viewers
for an example, we actually call it Shelters of Hope, Friends in Need, and Foundations of Life. So we do a lot of things because we believe that every human person is made in the dignity and likeness of God from conception to natural death. And so we serve everybody in between. And under those three umbrellas, obviously, 2,000 units of housing we provide. Affordable housing is going to continue to be a crisis in the Tampa Bay area. So we are a conduit for helping people address their affordable housing through a homeless shelter provider, through women's of domestic violence, for people with HIV and AIDS. I mean, we do all kinds of housing, and we do support services across all 5 counties, $17 million corporation. Thanks by the grace of God, we need it by private partners and volunteers to help us serve this. So.
Oh, yeah, and that's just tip of the iceberg. And you all have helped in sometimes disaster relief and various things of helping. It's a whole nother wing, and we've had you on in your pro-life wing too as well. But you do so much, Mark. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For taking time to come, and wow, congratulations to Pinellas Hope. 10 years. I remember when they started this and the huge need in the community for that campus and for what they do. So stay tuned. You're going to see on the screen how you can contact Catholic Charities with the Diocese of Pinellas Hope, and we'll be right back, tell you about another ministry on BAYFOCUS. Hello, I'm Darlene Greenlee, and I want you to make room in your schedule each week to tune into BAYFOCUS. We are going to highlight local events, ministries, concerts. Reporter Brooke Larson goes behind the scenes at some of those concerts and talks to the music artists, local pastors, ministry leaders. Tune in each week. I'll see you on the next BAYFOCUS. Well, we're back, and we're going to switch directions a little bit more of a missions-minded organization based here in the Tampa Bay area. And we have back with us, we've had him on a number of times now, on BAYFOCUS, Al Barrett, who is the founder of Threads of Hope Ministry. And I'm going to, number one, welcome back. But I love having you on the show because you're always going somewhere. But I know we have viewers that may not even really know what Threads of Hope is. Mm-hmm. So if you just give them the short version on what you do with Threads of Hope.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Darlene, and thanks for having us back on and give a little recap of what has gone on this last year with Threads of Hope. We're a sewing ministry, and that is that we teach, train, and equip widows and orphans to learn to sew to earn a living. It started in Kenya, and it's developed and multiplied into 27 countries around the world now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I realized you were up in that many that you've taken this to. A lot of where you work along that you've expanded to, but you're growing in the Maasai, with the Maasai land area of Kenya.
Right.
And you have a new development there a little bit. Explain what's happening there.
Right. Our project is growing there, you know, in Kenya. I have a passion for that. It's where it all started for Threads of Hope in the wilderness areas there. And so on our project, last year I talked about how we got connected and God led us into something new, and that is to help Maasai that have problems with addiction, alcohol particularly. We got connected with a mission sometime before, and that mission has a program called U-Turn for Christ. And we sent Maasai out there last year after I was on this program. We sent one and then another. So 2 have gone through it. They've come back, given their testimony in the church. And while they're out there, they have done a program of raising chickens to sell eggs or to keep this sustainable, give them work, saying they're in their community. Well, the whole community is alive and hearing the witness of these fellows that have gone through the program. Wow. And they started that a little over 3 years ago. They're selling today over 2,500 eggs a day now. Wow. It's grown. They've sent a dozen more people through the program, and they're all attached to this egg project. So we want to replicate that. The ones that have been out there have come back to our community where we have our sewing center, and they have stayed productive up to now in their wedding. Just this morning, I talked with them out there and the staff, and they're just eager as all get out to get started the building. Yeah.
I just love what you do. You're taking the gospel of Christ and you're taking and sharing His love in such tangible ways. You're teaching people to make a living, what they can do. Yeah. All right, this is one of the things reasons we brought you on to. We're going to show video in just a moment. But you, Threads of Hope, partnered with another ministry to go to Cuba.
Yes.
What did you do there?
Yeah, this ministry is called Living in Faith. They started this ministry 20 years ago in Tampa, the same time I did. We've been collaborating for years. I've sent a lot of sewing machines down to Cuba and Haiti with them. But he's been putting filter systems in Cuba, over 200 to date. So I wanted to learn, so if we could use this in Africa as well. Yeah. So I teamed up with not only just to help them, and I went down there a few weeks ago, and we traveled through Cuba. Very enlightening.
Oh, trip. I know. That's what.
Very enlightening trip. And to be in those little churches, we were in about 8 different churches of various denominations. Throughout, we traveled hundreds of miles. We put in 6 systems and rehabbed 3 others, and we brought Bibles and banners. You'll see.
And you're allowed to do all that there, and the churches can worship openly.
Yes, but it has tightened up. It's obvious. It's tightened up. I think because of the advent of things being open and people going in there, more is coming into the country, goods of all nature, and I think the government is feeling a little threatened. That's my personal opinion. Yeah. And so the people are a little afraid of taking too much, that they become apparent, you know, and
they still have to be careful.
Yeah, they do.
With their faith,
they do.
How public they are. But I guess one of the things that surprised me a little bit was that you know, although you hear different things about the level of what the economy is like in Cuba, but there is a need for you to go in and do these systems.
Oh,
is that
sure.
what?
Yeah,
they're backward. Is that what you're saying? They don't have the facility?
Well, let me say this for one thing. you know, I think it's a mistake to go in there for any of us to compare them with us.
Yeah.
And see them. I think if you were to compare them with other Hispanic countries like Honduras, Nicaragua, Guatemala,
right.
And you know, and there's a big difference. And the big difference is the gospel. It's the church. Mm-hmm. It's the little churches that are making it. That's what I see. Mm-hmm. I see there within the villages, the communities, there's peace there.
Okay.
You don't see.
You're saying in Cuba.
Yeah, in Cuba.
So they're actually the church is thriving more so.
It is. It is.
Wow.
It is. It is thriving. Yeah, I think it's what sustained them.
Yeah.
You know, this community of believers. You know, to come together.
All right. Let's take a look, and then we'll talk about a little bit when we come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's take a look at a video that you shot a little bit, and gives people a little bit of a window.
Yeah.
And look into your trip at Cuba. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Wow, that gives you a little bit of a look. I'm struck by some of the things I see. The horse and buggies to start with. You just have a little bit of everything, a little bit of modern and older culture. Yeah. So give us a few takes. Like, what was it? Were the people open for these? For you come in and put these water systems? Who used them? Where did you go to do that?
Yeah. They mainly went into churches. We did a co-op on a farm that had a water tank. See, their systems in the cities don't have the pressure to push water into buildings up high. So
that's what I was wondering.
That's real. So you get a lot of bad things that happen in water when it's just stored in big tanks up high. They transfer the water from the city systems up to these tanks, and then the gravity feed into the buildings. So we tapped into these this water coming down from the tanks, and there's 4 filters. The first two take out the sediment, the next 2 take out the bacteria and what have you. It's worked well, and Russ has put over 200 of these in throughout Cuba, and
so they're very much welcomed to come in and put these in.
Yeah, it brings people into the church to hear the word, because they put this banner up even on the walls outside, and people come in for clean water, and it brings them into the church.
Okay, so then this is something, now you went to Cuba to see how they're doing this, and your hope is to take it into Africa and some of these nations.
Yeah, there are places in Africa that, well, in Kenya where we're going, that have a need. It'll work now. I think a few years back it wouldn't have worked so good, but now it's been developed because Russ developed this thing himself. You know, he's tried all different kinds, and this one is working very well.
Yeah. Okay. So and the name, I want to make sure, because we've mentioned his name a few times. The one you went to Cuba with was Russ Montgomery, Living in Faith Ministry. He goes in and does this. This is so much part of what modern day missions is, isn't it? You're actually taking on and doing humanitarian work. Trying to provide like different ways to people to make a living. All right. How can our viewers help you with Threads of Hope and all these different? You're combining with other ministries. What could be your greatest need? needs?
Yeah, right now we're going to be going the next trip into Kenya this summer, and so we want to install about 3 of these systems. We can take them in our luggage, and so we've talked with them about it, and they're eager to have this. Now, getting water is one problem. Getting clean water is another. So we want to put one on the project where our Threads of Hope Sewing Center is, and they'll be getting clean water. These tanks are up high again, and they're pump water up to it. And then another one, either on the church or in the little village, which is close by our project, to a school. There's a school right there that missionaries, a group of us missionaries, put together. Yeah.
Wow, it's an undertaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So if the best way viewers could do that, it would be a financial contribution.
Okay. Yes.
You're right. That would be that would be the best way.
Yeah. Those systems were about cost about $1,000. That's what it is to take one and put one in, install it, $1,000 each.
Yeah.
So we're going to be 3 there.
Yeah.
So if we could get funded for that, would be great.
That would be terrific.
Yeah. All along now, for some time, we're desperate need of a little dormitory of some kind for our sewing school, because we're getting more and more coming from greater distances to stay, and it's a problem. And for safety's sake and to have them right there on the property at the school, because it'll run about $15,000 to get a real proper a building up there to keep it safe for them.
Yeah.
Because there are elephants roaming around there now. Wow. They're getting into our gardens. It just made a havoc in the garden.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, you don't think of that. Your sewing center is beautiful. Now you add a dormitory, you don't think of elephants knocking on the door, you know. We want to come in, but that's what life ministry is in Kenya. Yeah. Okay, Al, we're going to end on that with that visual in our minds, but thank you for sharing, updating us on Threads of Hope, and then also the project in Cuba. Stay tuned on the screen. You're going to see how you can contact Threads of Hope. Al is busy year-round doing this work. God has really led him to do this missions work. So if you can help him, it'd be greatly appreciated. We'll be right back. Well, I hope you will help Threads of Hope anyway in their projects in Kenya and all the different work that they're doing. And then also get on board and see where you can help Catholic Charities here in the Diocese of St. Petersburg and Pinellas Hope. Their 10-year anniversary, they always could use help. People help them financially, volunteering, anything. You can help feed those meals, your church at Pinellas Hope. That would be awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Please connect with us on social media. We will see you next week. God bless you.